Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what I'll start off with is I'll just show you this, and I'll tell you that this is a function. This is a way to represent a function. And what I've got basically two sets here. So if you think about sets in terms of like Venn diagrams, right? I've got one set here, which I've called my X set, my set of X values. And I've got my other set on the right here, which is a sort of greeny sort of set. And I've got some values in there, right? So these dots represent values, sort of X values, and these dots in the Y set represent Y values, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm showing my function as mapping, so there's a new word, mapping, doing something to my X values to map them to my Y values, okay? So my function is mapping these X values, whatever they are, okay? They're just numbers here, so like 2 being mapped to 10, 3 being mapped to 11, 4 being mapped to 12, so on. This is a function. And what I'm going to show you over the next few slides are examples of functions and also examples of things that are not functions. And what I want you to do is I want you to reflect each time what's changed. So what's been the difference between each slide? And when I get to a sort of a non-example, something that isn't a function, I want you to try and think, well, why is that not a function? Okay. So each time I just want you to go, well, what's changed? And how has that changed the answer? And I want you to kind of come up with your own sort of idea of what function is. And I'm going to ask you at the end, okay? Right. So it's really important you're paying super attention to this. So this is a function. This is also a function. Hone in, what's changed? What stayed the same? Okay, so this is a function, and that is also a function. This is also a function. This is also a function. Ignore the writing at the bottom, it's from area. Okay, so this is a function. This is also a function. This is a function. This is not a function. This is no longer a function. Again, think what's changed? Why do you think that makes it not a function? I'll show you the last slide again. That is a function. This is no longer a function. What's changed? This is also not a function. It is also not a function. So let's run through them really quickly. This is a function. That is also a function. This is a function. This is not a function anymore. This is also not a function. Have a think. Do you think this is a function? This is a function. This is a function now. Let me just do that last slide again. So this is not a function. This is a function again. Right, next slide. This is no longer a function. Why do you think that is? What's changed? That is a function. That is no longer a function. This is also a function. This is a function. Again, that is not a function. This is a function. And it's worth noting that these three pieces of data are outside the set of x values I'm looking at. Okay, right. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to start thinking about there are two kind of rules for a function must follow, okay? So the idea is I want you to write in chat, and don't hit enter yet, so just kind of queue it up. What do you think a function is, or what rules does a function need to follow, okay? Okay, so a function fundamentally maps some values from one set to another set. And I'll quickly run through these again. So we've got a function on the left and a function on the right. This is still a function. This is not a function anymore. This is also not a function. This is a function now. That is no longer a function. This is a function. So in chat, don't hit enter yet, but just write down a function must, or a function does this thing, okay, however you want to